month ago, Jody and I took a vacation to Portland and to Denver. And it was our first time in Portland, and we had some unseasonably warm weather. Let's just say it was beautiful. We had a great time. It was my first time seeing the Northeast. Just stunning. So while we talk today, I'm going to share just a little of the beautiful footage that I got while we were out there. So since we've been back, I haven't really recorded a new video. I've been doing a lot of work around the studio. I've written a lot of new content. I've gotten a lot of other things done, but not that one kind of most important thing that I wanted to get done. To be honest, I was in a little bit of a funk, and I think that that's something that we all go through. And sometimes it's just really hard to get back into the groove. And then I got a comment on one of my videos asking for my thoughts about procrastination. How timely. What's up, people? Got my Christmas beer here because it's December and it's been a month since I put out a video. And let's make December a month to get some shit done. I'd be willing to bet that a good number of you out there feel like you should probably be doing something else right now, not watching a YouTube video. Something that's gonna bring you a little closer to the goals that you've set for yourself. Something that's gonna make you feel a good sense of accomplishment. And I totally get it. If you could see all of the things left undone in this studio right now, you'd realize that I may even have a worse problem with procrastination than you do. Let me just show you a couple things. You see this shelf over here? I set this up, feels like 8 months ago. Still a mess. You see these 4 messy freaking shelves that I've never gotten cleaned up? Just junk stuck everywhere. And here are all the lights that would light up those shelves if I'd ever put them up. What's that, you say? All the crap that I keep moving around because I haven't put it away yet? And I don't even want to begin to get into all the skeletons that are hiding in this closet. I could take you around and show you everything that I need to get done, but we would seriously be here all day. The good news is that I have found a few techniques that actually work, at least for me. But if they can get me off of my ass and get me working, I'm pretty sure that they can work for anyone. Let's talk to it. First off, don't feel bad. Procrastination is totally natural. Our brains are kind of wired for it. And sometimes it feels like creative people have it even worse. We have this tendency to be kind of stuck in our heads, overthinking every little detail of everything. And this is doubly worse if you're a perfectionist on top of it. A perfectionist is never going to want to start anything unless they already know ahead of time that it's going to be perfect, and we never know that, and so we get stuck into that whole cycle. Your overthinking brain is designed to slow you down and to rationalize all of these excuses why you should watch one more video before getting down to the thing that you actually want to get done. It is a mess in there. But that's because your mind is designed to be safe and comfortable, and to be safe and comfortable, it has to come up with a lot of excuses. Getting stuck in your head with all of this constant overthinking and second guessing and thought spirals and excuses isn't gonna help get you anywhere. The primary function of your impulses are to keep you alive, and your brain is really good at this. It's really good at avoiding discomfort and uncertainty, which also happen to be the 2 main ingredients in trying anything new. But what it really boils down to is stress and fear. And if there's one thing that our brains are good at, it's offering us short-term distractions that give us short-term pleasure in order to avoid the fear of facing the thing that we're afraid of failing at. I can sleep another half hour, what's the big deal? Let's just see what's happening on Twitter real quick. Oh, I should look up that actor from that movie the other night that I couldn't think of. Just one more video and I'll get to work. How do we stop putting things off and taking the easy way out every time? Here's the thing, since our mind loves predictability and safety so much, our default reaction to everything is to play it safe. We need to build better defaults. And since our goals are so big and complex and overwhelming, we don't want to face them. We need to make them manageable. And to do that, we need to face the fact that we're never going to feel like it. We just need to get to work anyway. But that's easier said than done, right? If we want to change our default reactions to things, we need to sort of rewire and hack our brain a little bit. And this is done through different techniques that fall under the concept of metacognition. Metacognition is just a fancy way to say thinking about thinking or being aware of your awareness. It's what most of these modern self-help books are about beneath the surface. You can get yourself to do the things that you want to do. Sometimes maybe you just have to trick yourself or enforce a pattern until it becomes the default pattern, routine, or habit that you're into from that point forward. So I've tried a lot of different methods for this and I've had very mixed results. Here are just a few things that have worked for me. In my video about failure, I recommended a book called Switch by Chip and Dan Heath. I'm gonna recommend it again. It contains sort of a very functional framework for making changes in your life and actually getting them to stick. And I've read a handful of similar books to that, but this one's actually worked for me and has a lot of science behind it. So one thing that I learned from this book that's really helped me when I'm procrastinating is a technique called scripting the critical moves. One of the biggest reasons that we procrastinate on things is a lack of clarity, because uncertainty is fear. We're uncertain if our project will turn out any good. That's a fear of failure. We're uncertain of how long it's going to take or if we even have enough time. That's a fear of commitment. And we're not sure what steps to take or if we even have the ability to do this at all. And that's just a fear of ignorance. But fear can be destroyed by clarity the way that darkness is destroyed by a light. If you can just shed a little light on what you're trying to do, you can take away that fear. But we're not good at planning the future. We're not good at working out every little detail in advance. The whole big project that we want to take on has got all of these little details, and you could get lost in those details forever. And the way out is to just script the critical moves. So rather than trying to map out the entire thing that you want to do ahead of time and to know every little step, focus on the goal and ask yourself what steps at a very high level that it would take to get there. Don't let yourself get dragged down into the details. Just a very basic high-level framework, working backwards from the goal to where you are today. You can write this out if it helps you. I know that helps me a lot. So here's the important question now. What's that first step? You don't have to get this whole project done all at once. You don't even have to get the whole thing planned out. All you need to do is figure out what is the first step. By scripting out the critical moves, just the high-level steps, you've already broken this big scary thing down into more manageable pieces that you can work with. And then you can put all of that aside and just focus on the first step. Just get started. Before you know it, you'll be well on your way. So just knowing what that first step is doesn't necessarily light a fire under our ass that gets us moving. Another tip that I learned from Switch actually comes from a house cleaning blog. It's a technique developed by a woman named Marla Silly who goes by Fly Lady. I'm honestly not that familiar with her, but the technique is amazing. It's basically a recipe to get your ass moving. It's called the 5-minute room rescue, and I use it all the time to get anything done, even to just chip away at all the things that I need to get done in this studio. But what's cool is that it doesn't just apply to cleaning a room. You can really apply this to anything you've been putting off. The idea is simple. You take that one room in your house, or that one project in our case, that one thing that you don't want anybody to see, that you're embarrassed about, that's overwhelming, that stresses you out just to think about it. You take that one little thing and you just commit to doing 5 minutes a day. That 5 minutes a day is gonna stack up, and you don't worry about the breadth of everything that needs to get done. Just commit to that 5 minutes. The best part of this is that the hardest part of getting anything done is getting started. And when you commit that 5 minutes, more often than not, you're gonna find yourself working 10, 15, maybe losing an hour in it. You got over the hump of getting started, and before you know it, you have momentum. But don't worry about that. Seriously, you have to let yourself get away with just 5 minutes, or in the back of your mind, you're gonna know that 5 minutes really means 2 hours, and you're gonna get all that stress and anxiety back. Do the 5 minutes. If that's all you're feeling today, stop. Don't beat yourself up. But more often than not, you're gonna wanna keep going. It feels good once you got a thing started to keep rolling with it. By breaking it down to just 5 minutes and simplifying it, it tells your brain that this is safe and that this is predictable and that we don't have to go through all of the thought spirals of anxiety. We just need to do the 5 minutes. Sometimes even that's a little difficult. 5 minutes might be small, but you're just having trouble actually removing your ass from the chair. So I've got just one more little brain hack that might work for you. I saw this in an interview with a lady named Mel Robbins, who wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. Now, I haven't read the book, but I did gain a lot of useful stuff out of the interview. And she's got a really great TED Talk about it as well. Once you're moving, it's really easy to keep going. It's what's called activation energy that's the hardest part. It's the part that really sucks. It's the force that's required to get something in motion. It's that initial push-off that you need to start going somewhere. You're never gonna feel like getting started. You're never going to feel like forcing yourself into action. But not getting started is actually the biggest thing that's holding you back and keeping you procrastinating. Again, you're wired for safety, predictability, comfort. Starting something is unpredictable. Starting something can be dangerous. But the moment that you hesitate, you've basically already lost. That little hesitation signals to your brain that there's danger here, and then your brain goes into a mode where you start all of the rationalizing and making excuses for why you shouldn't get started and convince yourself to take a safer route, like doing nothing. As soon as you start questioning whether or not to get started, your brain has already come up with just about every excuse that you can think of in just that little instant. So the 5-second rule is this deceptively simple idea that's intended to override that moment that your brain gets to come up with excuses, and to replace that moment with actual physical action. Try this the next time that you feel the impulse to work on something. Count down in your head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This overrides the part of your brain that wants to say, oh, starting is scary, we're doing something dangerous here, and replaces it with this other mode, a mode that tells your brain that it's time for action. The hard part is getting into the habit of doing this before the hesitation and all the rationalizations start. The moment that I think, man, I really need to clean this studio, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick something up. This one's actually surprisingly effective, but it's not as easy as it sounds. It really does take some practice. She recommends, and I've tried with very limited success, practicing this first thing in the morning when your alarm goes off. If you're the type of person that likes to snooze, you hear that alarm, try to make it the first thing you think of in the morning. It may not work for you. I've had a little trouble with that, but some days it does. A lot of times I'd simply forget about it, but the times that I can remember, it's actually been really effective. It's almost like you're telling your brain, shut up, 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 get something done. As simple as it sounds, Mel Robbins says it better, sells it better. She packages it in a bit more inspiring way than I can here. I really recommend you check out the interview. I'll leave you a link down there in the description. So this video was probably an overwhelming amount of information. So in the spirit of the information contained, let's break it down and simplify real quick. The reason that you default to procrastination is because your brain is wired to avoid uncertainty. The best way to override this default response is to make the problem simpler. To simplify the problem, script the critical moves. Focus on a strong beginning and a strong ending and get started. If that still feels like a lot to take on, just commit yourself to 5 minutes and see where it goes from there. And if you're still stuck in a rut of not even starting on that 5 minutes, the next time that you have the impulse, practice saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And that's about the best that I got for you. Thanks you guys as always for hanging out with me. Even if you're procrastinating right now watching videos on YouTube, I still appreciate that you come around. I hope you guys got something valuable from this, and if you want to dig a little bit deeper, I left a ton of links down in the description. Basically everything that I talked about. If you feel like you're not ready to get started just yet and you just want to review it a little more, whatever. But the key, like with everything, is to take in what you need to learn and then get moving. Put these things into action. They will not work without a little practice. Most of the things that we're avoiding are a lot easier than we make them out to be in our heads, and that's the whole problem, right? I'd also like to give a shout out and a big thanks to Pascal for bringing this topic up in the comments. Your additions to the conversation have been consistently insightful, and I appreciate you coming back around. As for the rest of you, if you have any questions for me, for each other, if you know any good tricks to get yourself in motion and stop procrastinating, let us all know down in the comments. Really love to hear from you. Seriously, I'm not making any money on here yet. I don't have anything to sell. The thing that keeps me making these videos and that keeps me coming back to it is the feeling that maybe I'm helping some of you guys out through your own problems. So hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think. Until next time, peace.